Hey, deserving listeners, 90 Day Fiancé. Let's watch.
Last year that he just turned 28. So he lied.
Yeah.
What else is he not telling the truth about?
Yeah, I don't understand why people do this on this show. I mean, I guess it's a common thing. People do this a lot on the show, or people talk about online dating where this happens as well, lying about dating or posting a picture that was you 20 years ago or something. And I get it. You are insecure and you feel like people aren't going to love you unless you change the truth, lie about things. But one, it's going to be found out. Two, don't you want to be with people who know you for who you are really? Three, it's such a small difference. It's like it's 2 years. Would that have made a huge difference for her? And if so, wouldn't you want her to know up front? And it's so destructive because it shows how willing you are to lie, and how am I supposed to trust you about anything? So,
أول مرة حلت الكام إنه منفس حكينا على عمر، قلت لها عمري أنا 27 سنة، هنا في الحقيقة عمري أنا 25 سنة كتبت عليها.
You're 25 and you said you were 27 and she is like 33 or something. You're 25, 27, you know, and it's funny because when I was 25, I remember thinking 27 was so old. I remember I was in a band, 23, 24, and a guy tried out for the band to play bass, and he was 29, and he was one of the best bassists I've ever played with. He was very responsible. He had his own truck. He had his own career, and he seemed like a great guy, but we didn't let him in the band because he was 29. I remember thinking like, oh, he's ancient. That's too old. We're 24. That's too old. We can't have an old guy in the band, 29. So just that mindset of like, well, I have to lie and say I'm 27 because 27 is so old. It's like, in my view, at the age of 51, 27, 25 is pretty much the same thing.
قلت لها ما بس إنك كتبت على عمري على خاطر قولك هو داير زين في مخه هذيك علاش.
That's one of those memeable moments, right? That I was trying to prove to her that I was mature by lying, one. Two, I was trying to prove that I was mature enough for her by lying and saying instead of being 25, which is clearly immature, and saying I was 27, which is so mature. That kind of demonstrates that you're not mature enough to understand that 27 isn't that much more mature than 25.
You think it's good to lie or not tell the truth?
No, I mean no happy. Yeah. Don't know.
حسيت ردة فعل منفس ما أنا أكثر من الطاقة، ما أنا قعدت بهتها فيها توين.
Okay, well, hearing the moms say that, I mean, moms are going to defend their children, I suppose, but I wonder if this is also kind of a cultural thing, if age lying or age sort of reveals are different in different parts of the world. You know, I could imagine that. But I think Memphis's reaction is totally appropriate. I mean, you just straight up lied. Now, he could provide a little bit more of an explanation and say, Memphis, I'm totally sorry. I could see why you would be upset. When I first talked with you, I was freaking out and I really wanted you to like me. And I don't know what I was thinking. I guess a part of me thought we'd never actually meet in person because we're halfway across the world. And I thought, well, what's the harm in lying about this? Because it doesn't really matter. So, and then I thought about it all the time. I thought I should tell her, and I just didn't want, I don't know, I just kept putting it off, and I thought I was eventually going to tell you, you know, something along those lines, but nothing, just a smirk.
حبي مش ندخل، هو يمكن يحب يكبر روحه حاجة كبيرة هكا قراف باش تغشش كيما كيك.
So you lied.
Yeah.
And we had plans to go to the embassy tomorrow and do marriage papers, and now I don't know how I feel about that because you lied. Okay? So I need time.
Okay, if she's, you know, telling the truth here, that it's making her question getting married, that's, you know, she's entitled to that. And I wouldn't blame her. Maybe that's what the mom was referring to in terms of her overreacting. I wouldn't blame her for that. But I wonder if she's being serious, because if she's not serious, which I suspect she's not, but I don't know, then I don't think it's okay to use that, threat of like, well, I'm going to break up with you or I'm not going to marry you because of this. Again, I would understand that. I would understand that, one, they barely know each other, right? So the fact that of the data available, there's one bad thing. Well, if you only have like 3 other data points to go off of, then 1 out of 4 things are bad, then you're going to start to question things. But this makes you wonder if she knows she's playing a game. But I don't know, maybe we'll find out. See that face, that smirk, instead of, I feel bad, I could understand where she's coming from, I don't want to lose her. This makes me wonder what's going on with him. The other thing I'll say is that the producer is translating, or someone behind the camera, someone working for 90 Day Fiancé is translating for the two of them, which makes me wonder if that's helping.
Actual lying is more devastating to me than the age gap. Especially since I just opened up to him about my past. I just felt a lot more vulnerable, and it makes me wonder, what else is he lying about?
Yeah, that's always the natural conclusion. It's logical. If someone, I don't know, hits you, your coworker gets angry and smacks you across the face, you would naturally wonder, is that going to happen again? Someone lies to you, to your face, it's natural to say, is this going to happen, or has it already happened? Totally natural. And it's so destructive. It's so destructive. I get that you're insecure. I get that you want people to like you. I get that you're worried that someone's going to reject you based on some part of who you are. But don't lie. What I tell people, this is more relevant to families with teenagers that I would talk to, because the teenagers would lie and lie and lie, and then the parents would get upset naturally. And the kids would say, but, I was only lying because of this, and I don't really lie a lot. Well, and I'd say, well, the parents, how can they believe you? You've lied so many times. And so I would talk with the teenager about, like, so if you don't want to tell the truth, you don't have to lie. There's not truth or lying. That's not it. You could just not answer the question. You could say, I don't want to answer that question right now. I'm sorry. There's other options available. It's not a binary.
I'm feeling very upset and betrayed. Yeah, I flew all the way over here, and it could be a possibility that he is full of.
Yeah, I think there's a few things happening right now. One is the natural upsettedness and questioning that happens when someone lies. 2, his response upon being caught is also shady and seemingly lacking empathy. I'm not saying he lacks empathy. I'm saying his response lacks empathy. He seems to have empathy, honestly. So there's that. 3, I think she is now realizing, wait, I don't really know this guy, because she doesn't really know this guy. Now, maybe I don't know, maybe they really do know each other, but it doesn't seem likely that they would, particularly in an in-person basis. 4, of course, when she was young, a very common thing for people who have parents who have problems with substances is lying. When you are suffering from substance abuse addiction, you have so much shame and so much denial that you will end up lying to people, whether you knowingly are lying or it just results in lying, like promising to be there for someone. A kid's concert. Yeah, I promise I'm going to be there. I have nothing else to do. And then you don't show up, even though in the moment you intended on showing up, but then you didn't show up. And the kid interprets that as a lie. So it's possible that she has some sensitivity there, which, is natural.
I thought that I knew more about him than what I really do know. And in my past, I've had rough relationships.
Okay, when she says that shows trauma and difficulty, I think, and possible abuse. I wouldn't be surprised. So she's saying in the past, I've had rough relationships. And so she obviously wants to avoid that. And those traumas are starting to come back up for her. I hope that she has a therapist if she has been traumatized to recover from those experiences.
I've had rough relationships from being a child to being a grown adult. It's been rough, and I'm tired of being betrayed, and I'm tired of being hurt, and I'm tired of being taken advantage of, and I feel like I'm just a genuine person that all I want is just to be good.
Yeah, it breaks my heart thinking about, one, all the strife and trouble and betrayal and abandonment and stress that she went through as a child. I mean, think of her as a 5-year-old child just being neglected and abandoned, possibly abused, going from foster home to foster home, feeling like she's worthless, feeling ashamed of herself, wondering what the future will hold, feeling terrified. Imagine that, just moving into this random house. You don't know any of these people. So there's that part of it. And then the subsequent abuse, seemingly, she went through after becoming an adult. So, of course, it's being applied here. She's thinking, is that happening right now? She's perhaps more sensitive to the lying than would be otherwise. But she seems differentiated. You know, when we think about someone like Jasmine, who has, concerns, but decompensates and continues to blame, she's reflecting on herself. She's looking at herself and saying, I've been through this. She's differentiated enough to know, like, I think what's happening right here is my past is starting to bubble up for me right now. I feel the need to talk about it. I feel the need to have some emotions about it. I'm self-aware. I know what's happening. So when we think about people like Darcy or others, for Memphis, she has the differentiation, the maturity, the self-awareness, the self-confidence to be able to, in the moment, say, I think something's happening for me right now based on my past.
Baby, I didn't mean that. مش عمري معناها عمري سن كبير معناها خبيت نقرب نكذب على عمري باش نقرب لها هي أكثر تقول لك مادام قريبة ليا معناها نجم نحكي معاه.
I mean, imagine if someone said that, a friend of yours. They're like, yeah, I'm kind of an old soul. I know I'm 25, but I feel like I'm 27. I mean, what? So he's like, I feel older. Okay. 27 as opposed to 25. I'd understand if he said he felt 40 or something. You'll hear that. But, okay. So he says he lied because he was worried that the age gap would turn her off. Okay, it's not great, but disclose that. Say, I'm sorry, I thought you would reject me. I really wanted you to like me, and I impulsively said something stupid. Just elaborate now. Is it because of the language barrier or otherwise? Let's see what he says.
How can I trust you? Do you do heating and cooling energy? Get your sister. I want to know. Get your sister.
Yikes. So she's asking about something else that he's told her about his career, and he hesitated. Who knows, again, if that's the language issue. And now she's like, get your sister. I mean, if you're ever in a position, so this is analogous. We're always using this as a jumping off point. If you're ever in a situation where you're like breaking into their phone or their email address, or you're asking other people around, if you're ever in that situation of like, I need to ask other people, I can't trust you, I need to ask other people, things have gotten pretty bad, because you don't want to be in a position. When my wife tells me something, I don't immediately think I have to talk to her mother and make sure that that's accurate. If you're ever, just recognize like, wow, I'm in a bad, it's not really a solution. Now, if she finds out from the sister that he's lying even more, then that gives her data that she can say, wow, maybe I shouldn't be with this guy. But it's not a long-term solution.
Get your sister. Now. So I want to know, is he lying? Like, do you have a career? Like, if he's lying about that, I'm done. If he doesn't have a career path, I'm not bringing him to America with me and my kids. That's like taking care of another child.
Yeah, I mean, that's her choice for sure. It's a deal breaker. I don't think he would be doomed career-wise without having a degree. But again, if he's lied also about that, and it's not just the lie, right? The lie was bad, but you perpetuated it for months. At any point in time, you'd be like, honey, by the way, when we first met, I said a couple of things. It was wrong. I'm really sorry. He had to be found out. The age difference, the lie, was revealed because the sister said, oh yeah, my brother's 3 years older. And Memphis did the math and said, wait, that's not right. That's how Memphis found out. He never came forward. So that's another problem. If you ever lie in that situation, come forward yourself. Like with Summit and Jenny. Eventually Summit admitted, I've been catfishing with a different picture. Not good. The lie was bad, but at least he revealed the lie. It wasn't found out.
منفس خذيتها حاجة كبيرة برشا. بديت نخمم وقلت ما تفسدش العلاقة بيني وبين منفس.
Does he understand that he cannot lie to me anymore?
قالت لك مش يعني
Okay, so this is revealing again that they can communicate about sexy time, but they cannot communicate even about the most mundane of nuanced conversations around lying. This is a pretty easy conversation to have, even with a limited understanding of each other's language, and they can't even communicate. They need to go through the sister, who also isn't having an easy time with English. So this is concerning, one, because it's going to make it hard moving forward, and two, because how do you really know someone, right?
I don't know if I know him as well as I thought I did. And now I'm wondering, can I really trust everything that he says?
All right, well, if you want to join the conversation, you can comment below. Every week I do a reaction to your comments that are based on my comments that are based on the reality TV shows that I watch. And as I always say, try to be nice to each other, give people the benefit of the doubt. I'd like to hope that our community can be non-toxic and helpful and nice. You know, you can debate, you can disagree, but you know, there's a way to do it that is civil and fair, really. And I know a lot of you do that, and I really appreciate that. Let's try to make the internet a better place. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.